and a little bit late. And
And you know, I'll be happy to conduct a little wine tasting seminar.
yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and my ultimate goal is to convince people, don't be afraid of wine and wine snobs.
Schnapps, wine, schnapps. Interesting. Okay.
Snobs, you know.
Ah, okay. Snobs. Okay.
We don't make schnapps.
John, quick question. How soon, when you get the names, would you pick the wines and get them out?
I'll, you know, if we limit it to 3, because, you know, this is coming out of my pocket.
No, everybody pays.
Well, that's, we'll settle up at Maggie Valley then. It depends on, we ship it by UPS.
Mhm.
So once it leaves the winery, we promise people 5 to 7 days, but you know, they're short of people. Everybody's short of people. Once it leaves here, I will make sure it gets out at least 2 weeks in advance.
And that was my question, because I'm leaving here on the 16th of September. I'm going for 2.5 weeks. So I'll be attending the meeting on the road. So if I could get the wine before then, you know, I would like to participate.
Mhm.
Well, let's set a deadline of when people, we're looking at having that, you leave when, the 16th, you said?
Well, the 16th is when I leave, but we're looking
Okay.
at having the meeting on the 22nd if the district governor can
Okay,
accommodate that.
well, let's set a deadline of end of August.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Because I'll have to do this remotely, because after Maggie Valley, I'm leaving on my cross-country trip.
Okay.
Um,
But it's a deadline. Let us make the deadline on 31st of August.
yes. And, you
And
know,
I can square up
I
with you.
can make that happen.
And
I
you
can
wanna,
square up with you in Maggie Valley.
and you will pick the wine, John, or do you need
Yeah.
make only sense when we have the same wine, right?
Oh, yeah, it'll all be the same wine. How many people like dry wines?
Dry and fruity.
How many people like sweeter wines? How many people refuse to vote?
I'm
I'll
not
put
sure
it-
what it's all about, so I'm
Oh, do you drink wine?
absolutely
So what
Um,
kind of wine?
red wine.
Because we want to make a like a virtual wine tasting together.
I'll send
For this
out
club
a,
meeting, for this
Yeah.
club meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Red
I'll
wine.
send out a dry white, a dry red, and then a sweet red.
Can I have a light red? I'm not a red wine fan, but I was drinking one red wine. It was really good, but it's light. It's not that heavy. I cannot drink the heavy ones.
It'll be our most popular wine.
Okay. Okay.
But, and then I'll let everybody know what it cost, and you can reimburse me later. Yeah, if we make it the 31st of August,
Yeah.
and who's publishing the newsletter for this week? Linda, is that you?
No,
Me
Deb,
the
right?
meeting video?
By the way, I've shared that video with a number of people and they love it.
Good.
So that way I can get it out and it'll arrive in people. Should get to Keith in plenty of time.
Good.
You'll need to leave if there's 3 coming, you'll need to leave a space in you're going by motorbike?
No, I'm taking the camper.
Okay, you should be, yeah, you'll have plenty of room.
Yeah.
And, you know, whoever wants to participate, that's fine.
Mhm.
If you
I will
don't,
send you the address from our district governor and from Linda, you know, our assistant governor. I will send you both addresses.
and I have to figure out which states I can deliver to.
I ordered the map. I couldn't find it anymore in my mails, you know, from the wine taster. I asked if we can do that, and she sent me a map over the whole country where you can send that or not.
Yeah,
And
we have that.
as soon as I get that, I will send it over to you.
But we have a map like that. I just don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because we have to comply not only with federal law, but each state law.
Mhm. Oh, I'm sorry, Rory. He's waiting.
From shipped to Washington, just FYI, because you have shipped to me before.
Yeah, states have changed so much. It used to be I couldn't ship to Maryland. It was a felony. And you know, that's like 20 miles away.
Mhm.
And now it's okay.
Sorry, Rory. I didn't see right away that you're waiting. Oh, he's drinking the beer. Look, enjoy the beer. Yes. Oh, Guinness.
Oh, Guinness.
Okay. Guinness. Okie dokie.
You're muted, Maury.
Say, if you're gonna drink beer, drink real beer.
If your beer has the word light in it, that means they put corn or rice in it.
And Guinness, I don't know, is that really real beer? So cheers, by the way. Okay, we can do that. I will let you know as soon as I know that. Not a Guinness, a Nitro, okay. So 2 jets, I didn't see that. So I thought maybe, what was the date for the polio ride? Okay, our polio ride is on the 25th of September. We just settle everything up, and when the sponsor form and everything is ready, Linda will send it out with the recording of this meeting. Okay, so there's a sponsor form and a flyer. You can change whatever you need to do or what you want to do. You can change on this flyers too. You know, it's only the thing, the one I made and I'm using, or we using it, and we send it out over Facebook. And I have some people I ask to participate, and I have the email addresses, and then I can send it out as a via email. That's the same. So, and as soon as we changed everything, then Linda will send it out to you, and you can use it as well. So I thought for tonight, maybe, you know, we have so many knowledge about rights and what's happened, and I thought maybe it's a good idea to share on a happy hours meeting stories from, you know, situation, what was happened, unexpected things, what was happened, curiosity things, you know. And I'm sure we will have a lot of knowledge in this room with some interesting stories. So I will start with a story we had. I wanted to stay all the time. I said, you know, I don't understand the difference between, I was, by the way, 4 years in the country when this was happened. And I said, I don't understand the difference between a motel and a hotel. So, and I always wanted to stay in a hotel, and I thought about this old, you know, this old buildings, but nice inside, something like that. And then my husband said, no, you don't want to stay in a motel. You don't want. So it came that we planned our honeymoon, you know, and he wanted to go in the Caribbean, and I said, I can do that when I'm 80, you know, I don't need that. So let us make a motorcycle ride. So we planned, we did. We made a trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was in early May. So it was, I think, the best time to do it here. We needed 3 days to go to Albuquerque. The first day was so horrible. We get wet, you know, that we had to stop 100 miles before we normally wanted to stop. And we looked like, you know, our room looked like a laundry room with all the stuff to hang on and dries. Finally, I put it in the dryer that we can start the next day. And we met some Rotarians the next day because they saw the sticker on our bike, and they had 3 shiny Harley Davidsons, and ours looked really really dirty because of all the rain and all the dust and everything what's coming up. So, and by the way, we met these guys from Rotary on on a Pets one time in San Antonio again in person. So at this time we only shared the cards, the business cards with each other. And on the way back, you know, my husband wanted to make all the time hotel reservations. And I said, no, like the first day, you know, showed you never know what's happened. So maybe we cannot make a hotel reservation. So finally, we came to the place after 10 hours on the way back, Brownville, Texas. We arrived there and we was going to the Holiday Inn, and Chris tried to get a room and he came out and he said nothing. They are booked out totally. But over the street was a Best Western, so we was going to the Best Western. And then he was like, it's booked out as well. And I said, what's happened over here? And he said, in this town was a softball tournament going on. And that's why no hotel had any room for us. And then we said, okay, what we did, you know, the sun was quite down and it started to getting dark. And then when you are tired, you don't want to go that fast. And then he said, you know, next half hour in 30 miles, you will find a motel. And then my husband was like, okay, now you get the chance of your motel. So we came in, it was the only thing in this town, in this village, it was not big. And it looks very dusty, I can say, with the red dust you had everywhere. And Chris needs a long time. He stepped in the office and he asked for the room. And the first what the lady asked him, a very old, grumpy lady, she asked him, what are we driving? And he was like, we riding motorcycles. So she wanted to know what car you have. Later we find out that she asked for the car because when it was a cheap car, she asked them for cheap rent. If it was an expensive car, she asked for more rent for the room. So she asked us for $57 for this room. And when we walked in, you know, it was the best room, she told us. Everything was full of dust. My husband came out, he had such a face like, I'm not staying in this room, you know, it's not going. So finally, I had my contacts, and this day I put my contacts out and I said, okay, I will clean the bathroom for you. So I was going in the shower. I couldn't go without showering, you know. So it was really disgusting. And we slept in our liners finally. So we was not even using the bed. And at 6 o'clock, we was on the road again. And I called it the Bates Motel, like in Alfred Hitchcock's movie, you know, hotel. So, but it's the best story ever. You know, you ever remind yourself how was your honeymoon trip, you know? And of course there was some more stories, but that was my experience, my first and last experience with a motel finally. So that's mine. Who want to share another story?
Yep. John's got his hand raised.
I went on a ride just this last weekend. It was published in last month's one of the motorcycle magazines, and it's in Pennsylvania. It's only 200 miles away. And part of the route that I took was State Road 666.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that'll be cool. I'll take a picture with me and my motorcycle next to a highway sign that says 666. And as you know, many people consider that to be the number of the devil. I got on that road, and I think it was like 40 miles long, not a single road sign that said 666. And the only thing I could figure is that people had stolen so many of those signs that the state quit putting them up. That's it.
I can believe that.
That's the best I got, Keith.
Well, I've got one, and this is like 35 years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I was still riding a 750, and there weren't a lot of organizations. I was a member of, I don't know if any of you are old enough, well, you're all old enough, but most of you, to know retreads. It was a motorcycle group of if you were 40 or over,
Mm-hmm.
you could join retreads. And it was a motorcycle group that they had rallies all over the country, and there were chapters all over. And I was riding the Blue Ridge Parkway down to, well, actually down to Cherokee, right near Maggie Valley, for a retreads rally. And we were up on the parkway, camped at a campground up there. There was a group of other motorcyclists that came in, younger kids that didn't have rain flies. They had tents, but no real protection. And that night it poured. And I remember I got up in the morning and I was fairly dry. I didn't have any real problems. I walked up to the bathhouse, and the bathhouse was just covered with people and sleeping bags and clothes hanging, trying to dry out. And they looked at me like I was some kind of oddball because I wasn't wet.
An alien. Funny.
I'll tell a story.
Okay.
And it promotes one of the things that I enjoy about the fellowship. We've gone overseas several times on tours, and we were in Europe touring the Alps, and I had put the word out to IFMR in Europe saying that we were coming through. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to ride with you, whatever. And we kind of had an itinerary laid out, from point A to point B and going over certain alpine passes and whatnot. So the day that we were targeted to go over Stelvio Pass, which is one of the greatest passes in the Alps, it had rained the night before and there was a risk of ice on the road. So one of the Rotarians that I had connected with said, well, we'll lead you around Stelvio from point A to point B being our next hotel. And he came and another gentleman came. And it turned out that his name was Carlo Linetti, and he owns or is part owner, I guess, I don't know, of a company in Iowa making tractor parts. But the company also makes parts for Ducati. And Ducati had given him their biggest, fastest motorcycle. And he had pictures of him on a racetrack with the Ducati MotoGP racer. So he was a very, very good racer and a good rider. And I was very fortunate to have met him and rode with him in Italy, Switzerland and Italy. Anyway, it was a good time. And I have met numerous IFMR members in Norway, in Europe, and I encourage everybody, if you go overseas, or even if you go to another state, try to contact people and connect. That's all about the fellowship.
Thank you, Larry. I got in contact with the chapter Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and I was on the winter meeting. So I met the new international president. It's Dirk, and he actually comes from my hometown. That was a funny story. He's not living there anymore, but he is growing up in the same town I'm growing up. And so they acting like a club. They're not acting like fellowship. They're really acting like a club. They have over 500 members. I was totally impressed. And they have, for every weekend, they have something, especially in the season for sure, Yeah. And this has brought me on the idea to connect, but I invited them, Larry, also, by the way. I sent them over the information over the hotel and everything.
Yep.
Because there are a couple, some of them want to come over, but right now everybody have the problem that in Europe right now the corona numbers get up again because of the Delta version, and they are talking about a fourth wave. So yeah, you cannot make any prognosis already, what's happened during the convention. I hope that we will have a lot of participation, but especially with the hotel, when the convention gets canceled, of course, the whole group reservation gets canceled without a fee.
Yeah.
But only
Yeah.
until, so this is what they told, when there is no convention, nobody will come. So don't worry about that. When you have a reservation for the hotel, that's fine. And it will nothing happen when the convention gets canceled. So don't worry
Yeah.
about that part.
Yeah, Dirk came to have a drink and go to dinner. He and his wife and me and my wife and the other couple we were riding with had dinner in Munich. So I have met Dirk, and I'm also, Ute, once you and I finalize the email, which I sent you to edit, I'll do the email for IFMNA, but I will then edit it slightly, and I'm going to send it to Sunil, and he will send it to all the chapters in the world. So we will get the invitation out to the entire world, IFMR world of the Houston Convention.
That would be great. And by the way, Chris, get the appointment for us. We can use the convention center a day before our convention is starting, Friday morning at 9 o'clock on the 3rd of June next year, to make a group photo. So
okay,
we can show up direct. So he made this appointment fix already.
Then change that in the email that I sent you to edit. So change that, because I put it in there as a potential.
Yeah.
So if it's a done deal, put it in the done deal section. You'll see what I mean.
Before you ask me that, he was already working on that. So, and he was meeting, he was a whole day last Wednesday, he was with Rotary International. And he asked the guys, they organize everything on the convention center. He asked him, and what I told you, he tried and he get it, 50 parking spaces on the convention for the motorcycles. We maybe have to pay for that. I don't know, but they keep it only for motorcycles open for us in the garage. So the good thing is, so we can go from the hotel if we want to the convention center with the motorcycles, and the normal traffic, but wherever one can go, and don't be worried that something has happened with the motorcycles.
Ute, aren't we within walking distance of one of the metros?
Yes, this is the bad news, what he gave me from the last weekend, because they say all the hotels Rotary International have a contract with around the convention center. They have a shuttle system, with buses. So, and this is why we are out of this circle. And honestly, I'm happy that we are not in this inner circle, because if we would, it's hard to get something for dinner in the evening, or that we can sit together in a restaurant or what, because can you imagine how many people try to make something for dinner in the evening if you have 40,000 people in town? So this is why they said they don't want to pay the Houston traffic thing, but there's still a bus station in front of the hotel. And but maybe we want to look where is the next hotel. It's under contract with Rotary, because then we only have to go there, and then we go with a bus.
So people will have a choice, John. People will have a choice to ride the motorcycle into the convention center, or to figure out public transportation. I mean, it's
they don't have
the
to
best
figure
of
it
both
out.
worlds to have a choice.
No, I will. This is in the package when the people arrive. We will give them the possibilities over the transportation of the public transportation system in a package when they arrive in the hotel, so that they have the times and everything when they don't want to use a motorcycle. And I told that I have a contact to the Harris police, motorcycle police, right? That they can, when we want to do something, that they can, they will escort us also. Especially at the day we want to go to the dealership at the 9th. By the way, the 9th of June, there's a big birthday coming up. Right, Keith?
Yeah, I'm going to have to change my reservations. And now it sounds, if you're saying we're going to have a photo shoot the morning of the 3rd,
Yes.
looks like I need to arrive a day earlier
That
and
would be awesome.
just change my reservations both on the beginning and on the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Today.
June 8th and June 9th are going to be a good birthday party.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the 4th, by the way, Amanda, it's Amanda's birthday. And at the last day of the convention, at the 8th, it's my birthday. So it will be a good party. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then but you're not going to the hill country with us, Keith?
I'm sorry?
Do you not want to go with us to the hill country at the 10th?
Oh, no, I definitely want to. That's why I say I'm going to change because I was scheduled to leave on the 9th.
No,
So now I want to change it to the 10th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Then we will have the party in the hill country. Because then we don't have to drive so early in the morning, so we have a little bit more time to regenerate.
Definitely.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm pretty excited about that, and hopefully somebody from Germany. I know Stefan he's thinking about it, to join us. So this is the one guy who wants to come from Canada. His son is living over there from the IFMR chapter Germany, and he contacted me already as well. So we will see how it's going. Right now, this is a bad thing, all the work. So the HOC committee over here is working since 4 years at this convention. And, if they say in January, we don't do it in person because of the virus, then, and this is the last convention, by the way, where the local clubs can participate. After that, only Rotary International want to make it for themselves. Yeah, I know. It's so much more personal touch if the clubs, be invited and help everybody, and all the volunteers helping on the convention, on the airport, and they can give, tips. Rotary International could never do that. But they think they can. But can you imagine that would be the first convention where the focus is really on the motorcycles? I'm really excited about that. Never ever it was like that. Not that I remember.
So Keith, where are you riding from? I don't know where you live.
I live in the Virginia Beach area, Virginia.
Okay. So are you going to organize a ride with your regional director and try and get other members to ride with you?
Right. As we see as we get closer. Yeah, definitely.
Good for you. Thank you.
Does anyone like Tom maybe have also a story to share?
I'll relate.
A riding story, Tom.
I'll relate a short one.
Fine.
I put together an IFMR ride and linked up with the Pikes Peak Harley Davidson dealership, who does an annual 5-in-1 high altitude ride where they cover 5 Colorado mountain passes in one day, each over 10,000 feet.
Wow.
And I got riders from IFMR in from Virginia. Bob Schreiner was there. I got riders in from the state of Washington, California, Colorado, and we had a really good time, and we stayed in Glenwood Springs. And from then, I had another 3 days where I was the ride captain. And long story short, we did 14 Colorado mountain passes over 10,000 feet in 4 days. But the funniest part was my education. We were coming into Durango, and my family used to buy cattle in Durango. And I knew that Honeyville was on the north side of Durango, and it's a very famous place to buy all kinds of wonderful honey: cinnamon honey, pecan honey, orange honey, alfalfa honey, you name it, and they got it. Anyway, I'm trying to keep my eyes open as I'm leading the gang into Durango, and we come around a tree corner, and I see the sign and immediately slam on my brakes, hit my turn signal, and I make the corner. Well, big mistake. All the motorcycles behind me were not very happy. They were slamming on brakes. They were going into the oncoming traffic lane. They were going under the shoulder. And I got a piece of everybody's mind about plan ahead. So I never have done that again, and I do plan ahead.
But sometimes this has happened, you know, especially when you are a bigger group, it's hard to keep them together without, you know, that somebody is escorting or whatever. So it's pretty hard.
Well, I kind of knew we'd probably go another couple of miles before we could turn around, and we'd
Yeah.
already ridden Coal Bank Pass, and Bear Creek Pass, and we'd been to Silverton and over Red Mountain, which is the $1 Million Highway, and everybody was getting tired, and I kind of knew it, and so I made the snap judgment.
It's a nightmare as a leader. It's a nightmare when this has happened, you know.
Well, everybody did have a wonderful trip, and after the 14th pass over 10,000 feet in 4 days, we split up and everybody headed back to their respective homes.
Interesting. Yeah. Glenn, did you have had a ride where you say, this is a story I would like to share? You are muted. Right. Here we go.
No, I'm not muted.
Now not. Yes.
What
Hi.
were you asking?
I'm asking, do you have an curious or, you know, special story to share on whatever ride you did, what was happened, what you say, oh, that was a nice story I wanted to share on the rides in the past? Because you have so many experience. I'm sure there was many situations you said, okay, that was curious.
Well, the one I really liked was the one with the Canadian Rotarians. We
Mhm.
went up to Owen Sound, and we rode for a couple of days with them up around the lake. And they had it really well organized, and everybody had a good time. It was a nice ride. I enjoyed that. I'd do that again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, how far you are from the Canadian border?
Well, we're in Maryland, just above DC.
Okay.
And Rob and I, we trailered up to Owen Sound, unloaded there, and then rode the couple of days we were there,
Mhm.
and we trailered home.
Yeah, 3 days in the rain.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this
The
is a
one-
story to share. Come
Yeah,
on.
the one thing that was really bad was the wind. I
Mhm.
tell you, I'll never complain about the wind around here anymore, but up there off the lake, the wind was terrible.
Mhm.
Did you go up around the top of Superior?
Yes, sir. Well, I don't know what lake it was, but we went up around what was the north something or other. Rob, do you remember?
I can't remember. I can tell you another trip that Glenn and I went on, and basically it was just a day trip up to Williamsport, and we had a very similar instance like you did. We got to Williamsport, there was a big event going on, there were no hotel rooms, and we started riding east and checking motels and hotels. We were really willing to take any room.
Yes.
And it was probably 5 or 6 o'clock when we found there were no rooms, and then we kept riding 10 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we finally got to, I think it was Harrisburg, where there probably would have been a room, but then we were just 2 hours from home. So we just kept riding till about 4 in the morning, and we arrived back at home again.
I know that, you know.
Long day, and
Yes.
we were done.
Wow. How many hours finally you was on the bike?
Well, we rode from probably 7 in the morning until
4 o'clock in the morning.
4 o'clock the next morning.
And how many miles you think you did?
It really was all back roads, so it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
I do remember one other ride that we left Daytona during bike week, and we rode back to Maryland, and we left Daytona 11 o'clock at night, and we were back home about 10 o'clock
In the morning.
the next night. No, it
Next
took us,
night. Oh
next
my
night.
gosh.
yeah, it takes a good while to ride it, 1,000 miles.
Wow.
That's
Rob, when
probably
you
the
went-
longest we've done.
Yes, that
when
was
you-
an
Rob,
iron
when
cut.
you went through Williamsport, was it the Little League going on?
Well, I don't know whether it was that or whether it was just some type of a bazaar, or like I say, there was some event.
Because I made that mistake coming back from Michigan. I came across Ontario and then got back in at Niagara Falls and came down. And when I was planning on spending the night in Williamsport, when I got there, the Little League was going on. So
Right.
I had to do basically the same thing. I had to go on for another several hours before I could find something.
Yep.
Another one we had was when we went up to that, the lake where they have the big event. We went across all the way over to Albany before we could find a place to stay. They'd had floods and all the
Oh, that's right.
hotels were booked up.
Mhm.
Mm.
So it was probably a couple 100 miles across when we
Wow.
finally found a hotel in Albany.
Going up to Lake George?
Yeah. What they call it?
Aspencade?
No.
American.
Americade. Right.
Americade.
Wow.
We've had some good trips and some bad ones.
Oh, this
Now,
is
how far are you guys apart at home?
We're
Probably
same
Canada.
same town.
Same
Oh.
town, about 3 miles.
Oh,
That's pretty easy. So Jim, do you have also a story to share for us?
I do. It was 1998. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
yep.
I went on the IFMR South Africa Friendship Ride. It was about 35 of us, flew in
Wow.
from all over the planet, and we rode from Cape Town to Johannesburg. Every night, we would stop in a town, we would lock our bikes up, and the local Rotary clubs would have a reception for us. And most nights we would stay with a Rotarian from that town. It was about 9 or 10 days. It was probably one of the best trips I've ever had.
Mhm.
So that really got me started on IFMR.
I think you will not have that anymore in South Africa. We plan a trip too, but not with the motorcycles next year in March, because one of my husband's club members is also a South African. He comes from Port Elizabeth, but Port Elizabeth is not longer Port Elizabeth. And right now we're thinking about that because it looks like it's pretty danger over there.
Well, I'm
And
hoping for Australia when they have the convention in Melbourne.
yeah, that's not long ago, right? How many years? It's not long.
What, Melbourne? It's 2023, I think.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because it was after Lisbon, right?
After what?
After the convention in Lisbon, Portugal.
No. I think that
Was earlier?
Singapore is 24, right?
Mhm.
And Melbourne is 23, I think.
Mhm.
Isn't that right? I just had that the other day. Houston is 22, Melbourne is 23, Singapore is 24, and Calgary is 25.
Okay.
Trying to get my travel all lined up here. I think
I wasn't in
Portugal's already
Rotary, I
done,
think,
right?
at the time. I wasn't. I know that we was in Lisbon. In Lisbon, that was my husband's convention, and then he was passed as a governor. And then there was no. I think it was in Sydney, Australia, not in Melbourne. You're right. It was later. It was in Sydney.
Didn't Sydney get canceled?
No,
No.
no. But we wasn't there because it's a long trip, and yeah, we was in Atlanta. And we was at Atlanta with the motorcycles, but at this time we had no connection to the IFMR when we was in Atlanta. And on the way back, by the way, we did exactly what Rob and Glenn did. We was going back. We was going 3 days. No, yes, 3 days on back roads. We was going up. It's 840 miles from us, pretty much straight. So we had over 1,100 miles on the machines when we arrived in Atlanta. We had another Rotarian with us. So he's also a member of the IFMR, Jeff Tallis. He's a member of the district over here. He's also PDG. And on the way back, they said there's a lot of thunderstorms coming up. So we were starting, I think, 6:30 at the hotel that we're not getting in the traffic. And then we uses the highway, and we had some showers coming down, but in this heat, it's only minutes and you get dry from the air. So this is the funny thing. And you are happy if you have a little bit cooling. So finally we was at 3 o'clock or something. We was in Louisiana somewhere. And then we looked at each other and he said, okay, let us try it. So we was going home in 12 and a half hours with 840 miles.
Did you take the freeway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. So because go on the highway or freeway, and it's a I-10, I think mostly we riding, and then it's not fun. So you only want to go from A to B, nothing more, nothing left. That's it.
You
But
didn't
we
speed,
did
did
it.
ya? You didn't speed, did you?
Excuse me.
You didn't speed. You didn't
course.
exceed the speed
course.
limit, did you?
Of course. You cannot ride these machines, they want to give me 3 tickets already on the motorcycle, but I came out with all times no. One, they made a mistake. They wrote the last number of my license plate wrong. The second one, it was twice, by the way. The second one, he catched me, and I was, the last ride, what I make always before I make the polo ride, I ride the whole tour for myself a day or 2 before, that I know nothing can happen, no work area in the time or whatever. So, and then they get me in a zone 45, I was 65, 75 something, and I was like, oh no. So, and when I showed up at the court, and I was complaining when he stopped me, I was complaining, oh no, and we have to go, and I organize a ride, something like that. Finally, I was going to the court, and what I can tell you, he never fired me. So I was asking, with my ticket, and I said, okay, I have to go to court, where I have to go. And they said, no, you are lucky, you can go home. We have no fine.
Good luck.
Yes. So twice I had this luck. I don't want to try it again, because maybe that time they will be more strict with me, But there's nothing in my records for sure, because nothing has happened. And by the way, the one investigator from the first time I was in court, and they finally find out that the license plate number is wrong, and then I couldn't go. 4 weeks after my appointment, in a Rotary meeting in a very small town, the investigator came in this meeting from Rotary, and he saw me and I saw him. We started smiling, everybody else around. Do they know each other or something? And it finally comes out he was a candidate for the Congress later, but at this time he was an investigator, and now he's a Rotarian like we are, and we are still connected. So that's a fine thing. There's one club, I think we have 4 judges inside. So if something has happened, we are on the safe side. But only here in the area, nothing, further.
So I can tell a story, if I may. On my motorcycle, I was living at Lake Tahoe, and I was riding my motorcycle down into Reno for an event. And I had just passed a car on a double yellow. And I had pulled back in lane when the highway patrol came by and caught me on the radar. He picked me up and stopped me for speeding, gave me a ticket. Well, it turns out when I went to court, which of course I knew, the Rotarian in my club was the judge. And so I'm sitting in the courtroom and the judge walks in, he looks at the audience and he goes, "Hi, Larry, how you doing?"
But I had the same. The judge in Alvin was also a member of the Rotary meeting. He know me, but because my husband wasn't with me, he wasn't sure, so he didn't say anything. And later I was like, "Why you didn't help me?" And he was like, "Oh, I know you can handle that," something like that. That was really funny. Yeah. I can only say especially with the motorcycling, when you are on the road and and doing something, it doesn't matter. You meet so many people on your way, and there's always, it's depend on the people looking the machine, or then they find out, oh, where are you coming from, what you're doing. You will always talk with each other. This is really the interesting thing when you're going with a motorcycle. You have contact that fast, not with a car. Nobody will ask you for your car.
How about 3 interesting signs?
Yes.
One, I had been to the Rotary International Convention in San Antonio, and I was returning to Colorado solo, and I'm in northern Texas, and I'd gone all the way from San Antonio, and I was going to go to Amarillo, but I didn't make it that far, got too tired, and I pulled into a rest area about sunset, and walked up this narrow sidewalk, and there was a sign said, "Watch for rattlesnakes."
Wow.
The next interesting sign was doing the Route 66 trip, and I was going over that pass off of the interstate that goes from Nevada, I believe, into California, into the ghost town. But as you're going up that pass, the sign says, "Watch for burros." So there are 2. And then the third one I never thought I would ever see. I was on a back road in Nebraska, and it was a little 2-laner with no center line, no side striping, and corn 12 feet high on each side of the road. And you kind of thought you were going through a tunnel, and I see a road sign up ahead, and it says Nebraska Highway 0.
Wow.
So I have never been on a Highway 0 before or since.
Interesting. But the snakes, we had that experience when we are crossing New Mexico. There was some snakes on the side you can see. So, but I'm sure, Larry, you know that too from Nevada, right?
Yeah, we've got snakes here.
Yeah. We too.
Oh, come on, you gotta go to Big Bend and you gotta get a scorpion. I mean, that's, all sorts of interesting.
Do you was at Big Bend National Park?
I have not done it myself. I have a couple of friends who, I just came back from Arkansas and had a blast up there. We had a lot of fun, found some really great roads to ride. And I had other friends who went down to Laredo and ended up camping in the valley. And here's what we learned about scorpions. They glow in the dark under a black light. So she was sending us all sorts of really interesting pictures. And I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on that one. Not so much fun. I do have a funny story about my husband is the president of a club, and they are a military service club. And I ride with them all the time. I've known a lot of these guys quite a while. And somehow we ended up in a situation during the Lone Star Rally, which if anybody comes to Texas in November of all times, The Lone Star Rally is a lot of fun. It's not a riding rally, but it's, you know, if you can gather 250,000 bikers on an island, that's what you get. And so
Really?
Hmm?
I think the highest one was 60,000 riders.
Oh no, it is way larger, way
Wow.
larger. And so somehow we got split off from the pack, and we were trying to get to a restaurant. Well, somehow I ended up out in front, and I was tired. I have to tell you, tired of being in traffic. There is nothing worse. It's like going, you know, it's like going to Sturgis. It's like, I will now ride 5 miles an hour, clutch. Oh, it was terrible. Well, I got to a stoplight and I'm like, you know what? I can turn here. What I didn't realize is there was a big sign that said no turn on left, and that it was actually one of these weird intersections where there was actually another stoplight on the other side there. So yeah, I made an illegal left turn and then blew a red light. There was nobody coming. Don't get me wrong, nobody coming. And yeah, like 3 of these, you know, big burly 3-patch biker guys are chasing me because they're trying to follow me to this restaurant. And one of them being my husband. And finally hit a stop light where I stopped. And my husband pulls up next to me. Oh,
Yeah, your microphone is not that good. Did you lost anything? She was out before. Maybe the new computer is not working like that good, right?
It looks like her whole feed froze.
Froze up, yeah.
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 So I had a kind of similar story. I was following our leader on a ride in Mexico,
Mhm.
and we were in mainland Mexico. And I have my GPS, and I knew the GPS was telling me where we should go. And he turned left down the wrong way down a one-way street,
Wow.
which I didn't follow him. I went, I continued and followed my GPS.
This is what we call trust the Garmin. We had that when we was going to Atlanta up there, and there was some streets, you know, the navigation system and we have, my husband and I have both BMWs, but we had a different kind of navigation system, both Garmin's, but one was a 5 and one was a 6 version, you know, so.
Yep.
And the problem what we have with my husband is he have the GS Rally 2018, and this computer, this TMC or how it calls, that gives us trouble all the time. You know, it break our communication system we have in the helmet, the Sena thing. You know, it's not working at all since you have this bike. Totally complicated because it tried to interrupt all the time with that. My computer overheated, she told me. Okay. So I'm sure she's not coming back. Maybe the computer don't make it that way.
She said it was she'd set up on a temporary hookup, so.
Yes, exactly. Oh no. Yeah, so there's so many stories. Really so many stories, you know, with the motorcycle. And this is what I really like. And this is why I thought maybe it's a good thing for the happy hour, you know. To talk gasoline talks. I call that like this. Yes, Keith.
I've got one more.
Yes.
My wife and I left here on a Wednesday here in Virginia Beach. It was 83 degrees that day. We rode up to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee for a Goldwing rally. When we left to come back the following Sunday, as we crossed over into North Carolina in the mountains, it was snowing, and there was 2 inches of snow on the highway. My wife begged me to stop in Asheville so she could fly back. She didn't want to ride anymore. So you just never know what the weather's going to be like. We had every piece of clothing on we owned.
We got stranded in Asheville one time on the way back from North Carolina. to home in 19. But the other thing what I had is there was a motorcycle rally in Switzerland when I still lived in Germany. And there was always the 1st of May in the year. And you have to go over Großglockner. It's a big mountain, you have to go through. And we was going with a completely Harley Davidson group. It was my Harley time. And I think we was over 20 people going over there. And when we was on the Großglockner, we need everything what we could to wear, the rain clothes. We put everything in the between. It was so freaking cold, it was frozen. They had snow already over there. And then when you come back down, there's a town, it's called Heiligenblut, Holy Blood. It's the name of the town. You can feel the heat coming up, We were so happy, but there was always a dealer, a Harley Davidson dealer. He made a rally every year to participate with the handicapped kids home in town. So we was raising money for him, and we was driving over there, put the handicapped kids, they could go on the bigger bikes, and we made a small, ride with them, and it was always a big event. I was there 3 times, so it was always very nice, but cold. You had to be prepared for everything, Yeah, nice guys.
I know Glenn and I, for the last 10 years, have been using the heated clothing. But the very first ride we went on to Florida, we stopped in North Carolina overnight. And when we got up in the morning, it was like 25 degrees. And we didn't have anything electric. We had basically just like ski jackets. Not very conducive to riding.
This is a bad thing, with also with Germany sometimes, One time my husband came over in September and I rented 2 motorcycles and I showed him 3 days, really the area I was going before I was going to America. And it was cold in the morning, maybe, let me think about it, 60 degrees something. But at the end of the day, it was perfect. And it was clear. And this is really something where I said, okay, a little bit cold in the morning is not that bad, So, and North Carolina, by the way, I really love to go there. And maybe we should go over. Oh, look, they're leaving us all.
Well, it's after 8 o'clock.
I know, but
I know.
Who want to make the 4-way test tonight? Oh,
I can do that.
yes, that would be
The
great.
things
Thank you,
you
Keith.
think, say, and do. Is
First,
it the truth?
second.
Is it fair to
Fair to
all
all
concerned?
concerned.
Will it
Will it
build
build
goodwill
goodwill
and
and
better
better
friendship?
friendships?
And will it
Will
be
be
beneficial to all concerned? And
Number
5th,
5,
will
will
it
it
be fun?
Thank you guys for this meeting.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
See you
Have a
later.
great time. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ma'am.